The Wilmot Gardens community green development, if approved, will result in the complete loss of nearby playable green space for residents. At a cabinet meeting where the Armada Way development was approved, Councillor Penberthy spoke of his strong approval for the scheme since it would result in residents of Bretonside having better access to a play space.
As one of the ward councillors for St Peters and the Waterfront, I want to strongly welcome the provision of the Play Village. You and I, leader, have knocked on doors around Bretonside many times. For people living in Bretonside, there is no local green space, there is no local play space.
The residents of Bretonside already live closer to play parks than the residents of Wilmot Gardens will be if their green space is built on.
And some of the most deprived residential areas of the city don't have benefit of access, easy access, to large, really landmark type play facilities. And paragraph 2.4 of the briefing report highlights this. It's estimated that over 23,000 people will be within a kilometre's reach of those play facilities. Hundreds of children with access to good play relatively close to home. And for some, those around Bretonside not having to go to Teats Hill or West Hoe or Beaumont Park, actually having a park that is relatively close to them. Leader, on those bases, for those local residents, this is more than just a bit of city centre public realm.
If approved, the next nearest playable space for residents around Wilmot Gardens Green will be at least 680 metres away, if you believe the planning officers. We think it's closer to 900.
Just with reference to sort of playable space that's aimed to have within 400 metres of any new developments, the document does accept that it doesn't meet all of those measures, so stuff like not being within 800 metres of the nearest primary school, for example. But when it goes on to the calculating the walking distance between nearby green spaces, the closest one it says is Maladon Sports and Community Hub, which we've established isn't accessible to the public. So I assume that isn't covered within those measures. That's not within that 400 metre. And then it goes on to say the next closest is Bladder Meadow, which is 250 metres away. Now, I appreciate that the very tip of Bladder Meadow, where there's a path and some trees, may be within that 250 metres, but that's not a playable space as far as I can tell. So the closest playable space, therefore, would be at least 500 metres from looking at a map away from the development. So why is it that there's no acknowledgement in the report that we don't meet that measure as set out in STP2 of the Joint Local Plan?
But in total, there would be an approximate 680 metre walk to the nearest children's play space.
Despite the blatant inconsistency in approach over access to playable green space, Councillor Penberthy spoke at the Wilmot Gardens Green Planning meeting, encouraging members to approve the application.
I recognise that some local residents will worry about the reduction of existing trees and open space that this application requires. To you, I would say we understand your concerns, and as a result, planners have negotiated with the applicant to reduce the number of homes on the site, retaining as many trees as possible and planting 29 replacement trees. Members, I strongly urge you to support the recommendation of your planning officers and approve the application. Thank you.
The next planning meeting, which will determine the Wilmot Gardens Community Green Planning application, is on October 24th. The public can attend the meeting or watch it live on YouTube.
We need to build the right homes in the right place at the right price and create great places to live in order that our citizens thrive. We can't just gobble up more green space